A Night in Roswell, the UFO Encounter, Bedside Storytelling, Benspiracy. It was a warm summer evening in Roswell, New Mexico. The year was 1947, and the town was known for its tranquil atmosphere and vast desert landscape. But on this particular night, the tranquility was shattered by an event that would go down in history. Walter and his wife, Margaret, were enjoying a quiet evening on their ranch just outside of town. As they sat on their porch, sipping lemonade and gazing at the stars, they noticed something unusual in the sky. At first, it appeared to be a bright light, moving erratically across the horizon. Curious, Walter fetched his binoculars and focused them on the mysterious object. What he saw took his breath away. It was a metallic craft unlike anything he had ever seen before. It glided effortlessly through the air, performing maneuvers that seemed impossible for any earthly aircraft. Walter called out to Margaret, who joined him on the porch and peered through the binoculars. They watched in awe as the UFO danced across the sky, leaving behind a trail of shimmering lights. Suddenly, the craft seemed to lose control and descended rapidly towards the ground. Walter and Margaret held their breath as they watched it crash into the desert several miles away. Without hesitation, they grabbed a flashlight and set out towards the crash site. As they approached, they were met with an eerie silence. The air was thick with anticipation as they cautiously made their way through the darkness. Finally, they reached the source of the crash and were stunned by what they saw. Lying before them was a large, disc-shaped object embedded in the sand. Its surface was smooth and metallic, with strange symbols etched into its hull. Walter and Margaret could hardly believe their eyes as they circled the craft, examining it from every angle. Before they could investigate further, they were startled by a sudden movement from within the wreckage. With trembling hands, they cautiously approached and peered inside. What they saw inside would haunt them for the rest of their lives. Lying on a cot was a being unlike anything they had ever seen. It had a large head, almond-shaped eyes, and a slender body. It looked up at them with a mixture of curiosity and fear, its gaze piercing through their souls. For a moment, time seemed to stand still as Walter and Margaret stared into the eyes of this otherworldly visitor. Then, without warning, the being uttered a series of incomprehensible sounds and pressed a button on its wristband. In an instant, the craft began to hum to life, its engines whirring as it levitated off the ground. Walter and Margaret watched in awe as the UFO soared back into the night sky, disappearing into the stars. As they made their way back to the ranch, Walter and Margaret couldn't shake the feeling that they had witnessed something truly extraordinary. They knew that their encounter would be met with skepticism and disbelief, but they also knew that they had experienced something that would stay with them forever. And so, the events of that fateful night in Roswell would become the subject of countless debates, investigations, and conspiracy theories for years to come. But for Walter and Margaret, it would always be a reminder that we are not alone in the universe, and that the truth is out there, waiting to be discovered.